Yeah, Horseman, I want to let you know what a coup I believe it is to have you on our show with a regular segment. You, of course, Yak, your life meets at the crossroads in the movie industry. You have this unique inside viewpoint, and Yak, you had this idea to kind of help share the love and share the knowledge. I'm so glad to have you. We're going to pick your brain on good movies for the weekend. And I think where we've decided to start is let's talk about, is there a movie out now, right now, Yak, that you particularly enjoy and want to talk about?
Yeah, there is. I feel like in this world, there's either two movies that are really big. I feel like you either get that big, franchise horror movie that really pulls in, the horror crowd, or you get the Marvel movie, which pulls in, all crowds because Marvel movies make mad money. But I want to point out a movie that a lot of people probably missed. A lot of people probably don't even know exists based on who I've talked to about it. This movie came out a few weeks ago. I think it came out on Christmas. It's called Licorice Pizza. Um, and I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. It's going to become a cult classic in the likes of movies like not so much Pulp Fiction or stuff like that, but more like The Big Lebowski. I think The Big Lebowski is a great reference point because it's really a story about characters more than a story about a story. But Licorice Pizza, I would say, if you're feeling burnt out by the Marvel craze or the the reboot remake horror craze right now, go either find a theater near you that's showing Licorice Pizza, or when it comes out on the Blu-ray, pick it up or rent it or do something and give it a watch because it's definitely it may not be a movie for everybody, but I feel like it hits that niche for something that you really missed in more modern movies.
Yak, I would say, I mean, honestly, just by saying Big Lebowski, in other words, I think what you're saying is this movie has the potential to be a cult classic.
I think so. There's not a lot
Enough
of cult
said.
classics coming out now, but I feel like this one is definitely going to have its audience.
Yeah. Yak, I was going through I was looking at the listings the other day because I went and saw the new Spider-Man. We don't necessarily need to talk about that, but I
It's already been
remembered.
talked about enough.
Yeah, of course. I remembered seeing the licorice pizza. It's called.
Hmm.
I remembered seeing that in the listings, and so I know it's out around me. I'm totally going to go see it just simply based on your recommendation. I love the Big Lebowski. I love the cult classic idea,
Hmm.
and so that's excellent. Two thumbs up. Now, if someone doesn't want to go to the theater, doesn't want to go, do that whole thing, maybe someone's afraid of getting the sniffles or whatever.
The oh
Um,
my god variant.
yeah. And so if you want to stay at home, let's talk about a good rental, a good classic. What do you suggest if you had to tell someone to go find a classic this weekend?
There's a lot of movies I feel like I could say because I mean I'm a movie guy. I love movies, but I think if we're gonna do this segment, I think I got to start it out with one of my personal favorites. I'm gonna say La La Land. La La Land, which came out about 5, maybe 6 years ago now. It's a movie musical. It's a romance, and those are two genres that I mean, look at me. Do I look like I like those genres? And somehow it has been a movie that I've stuck with this whole time. I absolutely adore it, and it's one of my personal favorites. So I would say if you haven't seen it, it's a really good watch, and you know, it's a good way to start off the show. This little
La La
segment.
Land. Are there any big names in that movie?
It's Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Emma Stone
Mm,
and Ryan Gosling they're pretty big names.
pretty dreamy, huh? Yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan Gosling, pretty dreamy.
yeah, oh yeah. They have great on screen chemistry for that movie.
Very cool. Very cool. So, for the sake of balance, Yak, I'm going to go ahead and suggest a rental as well. I'll give you you got to get the old geezer's perspective, right? It can't be all fueled by the young, college Yak horseman. I'm going to say my suggestion is The In-Laws, Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. This, in my mind, this is a comedy classic. This comes from a time. First of all, do I know off the top of my head when that movie was created? And I don't, but I would have to say late '80s, maybe. It's a comedy classic, and it just comes from a simpler time. it's before all the CGI stuff and everything, and it's an action comedy, really, really well done. Um, those two actors went on to do some other movies, I think, because they had such success with the In-Laws, and that's just a good feel good. That's a great family movie too. If you want something to show the kids. Yak, have you ever seen that one? Oh, I think you might be muted, buddy.
Little glitch in the matrix there.
There you
I've
are.
not
There you
seen
are.
it, but I
Okay.
definitely, per your recommendation, I'll have to go and see it, or not go and see
Now,
it. I'll have to go rent
so
it.
there you go. So I haven't seen La La Land. You haven't seen The In-Laws. Now, is there anything coming up, Yak, that looks interesting to you in theaters that you're kind of excited about?
I know I kind of just went on like a little bit with that first segment about how horror movies are kind of desaturating our the landscape of movies right now. But one that I think actually looks pretty interesting is I think it's called The Black Phone. It's coming out next month, early next month, and it has Ethan Hawke in it, and it looks like it could be an enjoyable horror movie. It looks pretty unique, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of the more modern horror movies, especially like the most recent Scream movie, which was not a very good movie,
Hmm.
are I don't know. They're desaturated. They've really de-emphasized like the importance of like the killing. I don't know. It's really not. You know, Nothing like means anything. It's all cheap jump scares and really just trying to get you into a seat. But I don't know. The Black Phone, which is coming out, it looks like it's more than that. Which it may not be. It might be a cheap horror slasher, but I think it looks interesting enough.
That could be the quote of the day. They've de-emphasized the importance of the killings. I love it, Yak. And I will say as we wrap up, I'm going to say I'll just share that I think Ethan Hawke is one of the most underrated actors. I think his body of work is really quite impressive. There's something about that dude.
Hmm.
Yeah, Horseman. As I said, I think this is an absolute coup to have you on the show. I look forward to many, many more segments like this. And Yak, it's been a pleasure.
Trust me, the pleasure is still mine.
Okay, buddy. We'll see you next time.
See ya.